right, so today we're going to talk about cheat meals. Cheat meals are basically defined as meals that you eat that are kind of off your plan. So they don't directly translate to your goals, okay? When people have cheat meals, they typically think of things like pizza or ice cream, or maybe it's sushi or burritos, stuff like that. I know those are some of my favorite cheat meals. So those come to mind very easily. But typically people will ask me this in the context of a fat loss diet. And so they'll say, how many cheat meals do I get to eat on this diet? And I always tell them it's not so much how many do you get to eat, it's how many situations are you in where, it makes it very difficult to say no to that cheat meal, and where are you at in your diet, in your fat loss kind of program. Okay, so if you are in a position where maybe you need to lose like 5 or 10 pounds, say you got 5, 6, 8, 10 weeks to do it, I would say cheat meals are probably an okay thing for you. Maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, provided that you don't go way overboard in those meals. You should be fine to do that, provided you're in a deficit throughout the rest of the week. Okay, so that's an important topic to hit. If I have a cheat meal, let's say Saturday night, I get some pizza and I eat, till I'm full. Okay, for me, that's a lot of pizza. I'm probably going over my calories. Probably don't feel great afterwards, honestly. But every once in a while, it's okay to do that. If I eat that whole week, so 6.5 days of that week, I eat pretty darn well. I'm in a deficit. Say I'm losing maybe a pound or two, as I go that week, and then I eat pizza, and maybe I eat, let's say, 700 calories over my maintenance. Okay, does that mean I'm going to immediately put on a pound or 2 pounds? If you look at the scale the next morning, you might be a little bit elevated due to sodium content, carbohydrate intake, things like that. You probably didn't overeat by thousands and thousands of calories, just because your body kind of has mechanisms to stop you from doing that. But it's something to note that, after a cheat meal, you may very well pop up in weight. As long as you get right back on your plan and you get back in that deficit, if weight loss is your goal, that weight should come off relatively quickly, and you shouldn't really notice a huge detriment in your progress. Okay. Now, if you're having cheat meals every day or two, okay, maybe every say Sunday night, Wednesday night, Friday night, Saturday night, you're having a cheat meal, that's probably going to put you in a situation where it's going to make your fat loss efforts a lot more challenging. Okay, so let's just say, for example, you had like 500 calories over your limit 3-4 days a week. That's 1,500 to 2,000 calories extra that you either are going to need to have to burn off, which is more difficult than eating it for sure, or you're going to have to be in such a much bigger deficit for those other days that it's going to end up being those are going to be miserable days for you. Okay, so I always recommend, depending where you're at with your fat loss progress here, kind of use that as a gauge for how many cheat meals you're allowed. Okay, now technically I always tell this to people too. It's like, if you eat, let's say you eat pizza, but you're really diligent about it. Okay, you weigh it out, how many calories are in each slice approximately, and maybe you do some light activity beforehand. You conserve calories, leading up to it, and you only have a few pieces, and you stay within your macronutrients. I don't consider that truly a cheat meal, as long as your macronutrients and your calories are equated and everything is you're under your totals for the day. That's totally fine. It's when you go overboard that I would consider that a cheat meal. Okay, so again, depending where you're at, if you have 50, 60, 70, 100 pounds to lose, then you should pretty much be thinking, cheat meals are kind of out of the equation for the short term here, until I can really get a hold on what my calorie total is and what I should be hitting each day in terms of macronutrients, so that I can get to that position. I always tell people, and this is a tough conversation to have, if you have a significant amount of body weight to lose, you would be better served saying, I'm going to make my habits such that I can start losing, maybe, depending how much you weigh, 1 pound to 2 to 3 pounds a week consistently for a few weeks. And I want to know what that feels like. I want to be comfortable with that. And I want to put myself in a position where, it doesn't take me 3 years to lose all this weight. I'm hopefully going to lose it in, a couple months, and then I'm going to maintain it, and then do another cut and continue to maintain. And cheat meals really just throw you off from that timing. So say you're on a nice pace of 1% of body weight loss per week, and you add in a cheat meal or two per week, that's going to start slowing down because of the additional calories, okay? Now, obviously, cheat meals are great for, when you get around family and friends and things like that. It's really, it's nice to eat nice food. It feels good. It's nice to have a mental kind of break from your diet. But just keep in mind that, every cheat meal that you have is basically probably pushing you a little bit further away from your goals, okay? So you have to have an honest conversation with yourself. How bad do I want the cheat meal? How bad do I want the goal? And can I compromise the two to have my cake and eat it too, okay? So that's something to think about. Like I said, in terms of cheat meals, when we define them, if you stay within your macronutrients, I don't really consider that a cheat meal. You're just, exercising some discipline there and, keeping things within reason for your diet, okay? So before I ramble on too much about cheat meals, because they're a fun topic to talk about, if you guys have questions about this stuff or want a nutrition consultation or are interested in, chatting a little bit more about your diet, get in touch with us. We'd be happy to sit down with you and kind of go through, what your diet should look like given your goals, okay? So feel free to reach out, and if not, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.